Welcome back to my video. So this is actually day 4 video and I'm going to actually start as you're seeing live this video now at absolutely 8 o'clock. So over here you can see that there is a I'm today opening one special tab which is called properties tab. Properties tab is actually one of the most means not one of the most it's the most important tab which is all in the most cases required. Properties tab, if there is no properties tab, it will be very hard to do any waves or any motions or any animations or hair or particles or anything. And even you can without properties tab, it is very difficult for you to render, to set up resolutions and many things. So properties tab is the important, one of the most important tabs in Blender. So let us start with properties tab. So properties tab, there you can see that there are many options. So let me first discuss the options. And I'm in the day next day. I'm thinking of doing one project based learning completely depending on the properties tab. Also over here you can see that there are some of the tabs like over here. I'm going to go make some separate videos about those tabs, and specifically this one and this one and this one. I'm going to do some specifically different videos for that, and another video I will do in which I will explain this more in more details but separately. But today I'm going to go a little bit overview about each and every tabs in the Blender. So at first you can see there this is called render tab. Means render place render option. So render actually not render option, render shape, so render dialog box. So over here render dialog box and this render layer, this is actually the scene, this is world, this is object, this is object constraint, this is modifier, this is actually the data, and this one is materials, this one is texture, this one is hair, and this one is physics. Now we are going to go through everything one by one. So first I think we should start with render. When you're starting render, it's actually like this. Means if you close all the tabs, means all the subdivisions, if you close it. So you can see that there is a render dimension, anti-aliasing, sample blue, motion blur, shading, performance, post-processing, metadata, output, bake, and freestyle. So since I'm going to make a separate video for that, I'm going to go overview, but in that separate video I'm going to only concentrate about particular tabs. So this video is as well as equally important because the things which I'm now teaching now I'll be overlooking in the next videos. So at first over here you can see this render. Render has actually three options, which is this render, animation, audio, and over here you can see image editor, new means image editor, new window, keep UI. This part I'm going to teach you later. I'm going to only go over these three options. So at first you can see that there's render with a camera icon. Over here you can see that there's animation with a scene player icon, and in the next part you can see that there's audio with the audio icon. So in render, now before I start with render, let me once more explain what is exactly keyframe. So if you carefully see in the timeline, 110, then comes a slanting line. This is called 111. This is 112. This is 113. This is 114. This is actually called the frames. Now each a frame through which an action is beginning and the frame in which the action beginner has is getting a little bit changed is called keyframe. Now each and every frame is a picture. Now as I gave you the last time the example of a real life, similarly that we are also actually the series of images which are creating a video. So as you know, so let me come to render this one. So now over here, if you do this render, it will only do means render particular frame. It will only render particular frame. You can even render from this button, rendered image, render animation. Actually, this render image is this and render animation is this, and audio is not to be rendered separately. Now, when you're doing render, you can only see that only first frame has got rendered. The rest of the frames has not been got rendered. Now, this is the actually used for a particular render imaging. Suppose we have created one model only to display the 3D. Suppose I have made a model and I only wanted to not to move, and I only want that picture to get, means the 3D picture. Hence, I can do render and means image, and then we can and that's for we use render image. But render image is actually very less common, since we only use render animations, and that's for what we are using Blender. So when we're clicking animations, it will render every frame and keyframe through which the timeline is starting till the timeline is ending. The place where timeline is starting means, suppose over here 1 is the starting point, end 250 is the ending point, and this shows the current selected frame in which we are seeing this screen. Now when we're doing render image, this part this suppose number 9 frame which we can see currently over here will only get rendered. Now if we are doing render animation, from the beginning it will render till the end. So that is the, suppose I'm doing render animations, it is rendering each and every frames, you can see. Now to escape this part I can press ESC, means escape, and hence I got escape. So that is the main difference between render animation and render and means and render means render image. And the shortcut for render is actually F4, render image, and animation is control F4, because beginners often get confused because the other videos they say that now I have to do F4 run, but F4 run doesn't indicate the render image, it indicates the render animation. So if in further videos if you don't get confused, you have to press control F4 to render the whole animation. So I guess I should start with the next part. Over you can see the dimension. Dimension, you can exactly, there's a little bit story about it. See, the thing which we are currently seeing over here is not the thing that will be visible after we have means displayed it. Suppose I'm currently seeing this video, means this view. At this view, this whole part will not get rendered. Only the part which will be appearing in the skin. Which part? Suppose render image, I'm doing one render image. Only this part means actually the view of camera. So if I escape this and go to view of camera, only this part will be rendered if you see it. And now what is resolution? Resolution will actually fix the camera, means how longer or how shorter the camera will be. Suppose I'm increasing this, suppose to 2000. Turn this. I am again converted into 1980. It has very slight effect. Now I am doing it 500. It become this. So actually it depends from each and every and here is the camera, you can see. It actually generally depends upon the pixel you are using. This is actually px means pixel. Now frame range. Frame range you can adjust from over here. Over here you can see it's increasing, and that's it. Frame range you can adjust from, and in frame also you can adjust from here as well as here. Hence we do not need to open this property tab for displaying this. Now frame step. So frame step you can exactly see the start frame and end frame has an intermediate 250 frames, which is ending at 250. Hence the start frame and 250 end frame will have a equal means end frame will be only the intermediate frames. So the frame step is actually the intermediate frames is actually running by 1. Hence the end frame and start frame will have rendered 250 equal frames. But frame step is the step in which it will be rendered skipping. Now it may be a little bit complex for you to understand, but I will make you understand in very simple terms. Suppose you can see that when the frame step was set to 1, the frame will render animation. The frame is currently rendering step by step. It is not skipping any steps. Now, if I stop this process and then go back over here and increase the frame rate, suppose I let me increase it to 20 and then maybe run the animation. See, it is keeping 10 intermediate space and in the animation finished. Actually, this is used to make fasten the animation process, and that's it. Actually, frame step is not generally set to 1 only, and it is hardly set to 2. And frame step 20, 30, 100, 200 is generally not used for by the professional also, but actually this is used for very 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 high quality animations. Though if you want to make fasten a process for something revealing the whole movie at a very particular scene, since you can apply frame rate step, but we generally do not do this because we actually directly go from um, frame by actually just making it more fasten just naturally after the render has completed. So now you can see frame rate. The frame step and frame rate is a little bit different concept. So what is the difference? First, understand what is the difference between frame step and frame rate. So the first difference between frame step and frame rate is frame state is the number of steps skipped to do skipped so and then rendered. But frame rate is the number of frames displayed in 1 second. Here you can see FPPS. FPPS is actually the frame per second. You can repeat to 23.98 per second, 24 per frame per second, 25, 29, then 30, for 50, and it depends upon how you are setting the frame. So generally our default is 24 frame per second, and therefore we use FPS. Aspect ratio I will teach you later. Old, new, and I will teach you that thing later. Anti-aliasing is also a little bit hard concept. I'm going to teach later. Sample, motion blue, shading, performance, and post processing, and then metadata also. This much I'm going to teach you in later videos. But currently I'm going to teach you output. Output actually now as I'm animate actually as I'm running rendering the animations is not getting stored in my computer. Now, when I'm setting up a particular location in the computer, it will actually particularly save that many files. Suppose, first now, I'm going to go over here, save. What file is this? I don't know, but I'm going to go to GSD or downloads maybe, or Python render. So over here, suppose I have gone. So by here, I'm going to do 23 3 3 3 3 3. This was big. I'm setting up a name and then I'm doing accept. Now, when I'm rendering the animation, now I'm going to render up to this, and then I'm going to do. Um, Let me close this Blender screen. I'm